There's always something that needs a little fixing on Farpoint Farms.
Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Restorations. Check it out. We're working on the Super Beetle again today, and we're starting to put things back together. So while I'm doing that, I figured I'd go ahead and film this part of it. What I have behind me here is the air shroud, where the air fan goes to cool the air-cooled Beetle. And what sits here is this, which is a brand new alternator. Now this job is going to be the same if you have a generator or an alternator, so I'm going to show this to you here. And there's just a certain way you've got to go about putting these things back together, or you'll run into some issues and you'll have noise, or just, you'll actually cause damage to the housing or to the alternator. The only part I've put back on so far is this. This is the piece here that the fan is going to bolt to. It's just a flange that sits on there. Make sure that the keyway is still there. But I'll go ahead here and start. You can see I've got these bolts. To do this job, you'll need a 10mm ratchet. You'll need a flat blade screwdriver. You'll need a 21, a 19, and a 36 to tighten up the bolts. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we have here is this plate. And this plate has a recessed side and a side that sticks outward. We're going to want to put that in like so. So it's going to sit real flush against the back of the alternator or generator. The next piece you have is this, and it is also kind of beveled. You want that inside to face in, so you're going to go ahead and face that inward like so. Now, one thing I want to point out right here is our power, right? Doesn't matter if it's a 1-wire or a 3-wire. We have it here. This has to be facing up, and this next piece has a little vent, and we want that to be facing down in order for this to all line up. So we'll go ahead and slide that on, and there we go. You can see this is down, that's facing up, and everything's sitting in here. All our little bolts are lined up, right? So now I'm going to take my washer and my nut. I'm going to start that on both sides, and I'll go ahead and tighten this down, and we can move on to the next part, which this is not a terrible job. If you're going to do this on a car, out of the car, it's really simple. If you're trying to do this in the car, now it's a little more complicated. If you want to do it in the car, you're going to have to loosen some bolts and remove some stuff, and that can be kind of a hassle. In fact, normally when I replace one of these things, I definitely take the engine out. It's not that big of a deal, so I just go ahead and do that. Now I'll show you right here and right here on the shroud. If you pull up on that shroud, you do have access. Remove these 4 bolts here, and you can slide this thing forward to kind of get access to everything. But you also usually have to remove the alternator or generator stand, and a lot of times you have to take the intake manifold off, or at least get it loose and move it around. So either way is kind of a hassle, and that's why I chose to just go ahead and take care of it while I had it here. All right, next up we have this piece here, and we have a bunch of shims, and oh no, those are for the front, sorry. We have this and this. We have this nut that's kind of a uniquely shaped nut. It has a recess in here. And then we have this washer. And this washer's kind of unique as well. If you look at it, it's kind of warped. Right? Well, that's on purpose. So what we want to do next is we're going to take a couple of those shims. I'm going to use 2 of them. We'll start with 2. We'll put those on there, okay? And then we're going to put our fan motor on. And hopefully at this point you have checked to see, is the fan got any cracks in this metal here? There's a crack there, or if you can see it on this side, will cause this thing to fluctuate and can cause serious damage to the internals of that vent system. You also want to clean it, right? A lot of times if you have an exhaust leak or an oil leak, this thing is going to get covered in crud, and that's going to reduce efficiency and performance, so we want to take care of that. You can see here that it is slotted, and that's because it's supposed to fit on the slot like this. There we go. Can you hear that? Put this thing up right here so you can see this better. And what I'm hearing tells me, there we go. Nope. Got it. If you want to see here, we're looking to make sure that we don't have any contact. Do we have enough of a gap around as we go? And in this case, 2 seems to have got the job done beautifully. So We'll leave it at 2. And we'll just take the third one that it came with and we'll put it up here on top. Now next we're going to take that weird washer. We're going to face that up. And we're going to lay that over it, make sure that it sits in there flush. And then we're going to take our 36 millimeter and we're going to start it by hand. And I'm just going to give it the lightest hit with the impact gun just to snug it down. And then I want to spin it again. Still not making any contact with this base plate, so it looks like we got ourselves a winner here. All right, next step, we're going to insert it into, and I'll go ahead and lay this thing flat. We're going to insert it into the airbox. Now before I do that, you can put your strap on now. I've already put my fan on, so I'm not going to do that, but you go ahead and slide it down into the hole, and then we put our 4 screws into it. The screws should come with washers. Use them if they did, okay? I'm just going to start all 4 of those before tightening down any one of them. And then we'll tighten them all down once we've got them all in there. There it is. And now I'm going to spin it one more time. So there you go. That is how you install your alternator on there. And in part 2 of this, once the engine's back in, I'll show you how to install the belt, the drive belt for it. And the shims are used for that to make sure that you get a nice tight fit. I guess that'll do it for today, my friends. Take care.